Hey, Scorpios. Sorry for this darkness right now. I am not in my normal location. I am not at home. I am on vacation. I'm not working, okay? I'm just talking to you guys. This is not actual work, but I am on vacation in New York at my grandparents' house. It's my getaway spot. And the lighting is terrible because it is dark outside. The light is dim in here. But I have this message that I wanted to relay. Since I was on Twitter and I was talking about Scorpio, I'm very familiar with Scorpio energy. I have a lot of Scorpio in my chart. And I was like, why don't I just make this into a video? Because I'm always talking about it, putting it on a thread. I'm going to make it into a video. So that's what I'm about to do right now. Now, this will be released early access on Patreon. I'm not sure when I'll release it to YouTube, but if you're seeing this, hey, hun. But no, seriously. What every Scorpio needs to hear right now. This is a universal Scorpio issue. I don't know if this is also for Scorpio suns, if they deal with this as intensely as other Scorpio placements, but take it how it resonates. You can be Scorpio, sun, moon, rising, or Mars specifically. It's likely to affect you there. Could also be Chiron as well. I have all of the above. Well, not sun, but I have moon, Mars, rising, Chiron. And something that we don't discuss enough is Scorpio anger, okay? Even though it can be very passive, it's one of those silent but deadly things that can really poison a Scorpio or poison whoever comes across a Scorpio placement. I would say if you have Scorpio 12th house as well, this may apply to you, but especially if you have Scorpio moon or Mars, you really want to listen up. And I will be giving you tips on how to deal with this anger, what to do. This is not like a negotiation thing. This is something that you really need to consider working through, because it is an essential part of you. Like, because Scorpio's, ruled by Mars and Pluto, the anger is just going to be there. And then it's in an emotional water sign. It's going to always be a part of you. Intense emotions, and that includes anger. You have to embrace that. Okay, so it's not going anywhere. It's a part of you. But what's not a part of you is it coming out in an unhealthy way. We're not going to dismiss that. We need to still take accountability for our behaviors, but we can practice acceptance of our emotions. So, like I said, this is mandatory if you want to have high functioning relationships. This is something that I've had to do. Probably you'll hear a lot of other Scorpios talk about they had to do this, or maybe they don't talk about it. But I wanted to talk about how I got through it. I'm still going through it, but how I've been getting through it and how my relationships have significantly improved. You don't have to live your life in constant agony with emotions. And, that's just what we're used to, pretty much. Intensity. So yeah, like I said, I'm looking at my other phone at my notes. This is mandatory if you want to have high functioning relationships and conflict resolution skills. You can't just avoid conflict altogether. You cannot just be constantly aggressive. Okay, you have to find that sweet spot. So what every Scorpio placement needs to hear right now. Dealing with anger. How to deal with that Scorpio anger. If you're a Scorpio placement, you know what I'm talking about. If you've been around a lot of Scorpio placements, you know that this is a slow building type of anger that seems to come out of nowhere. It is not just out of nowhere. It has been building. It's like been a little tick, 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 a little poking the bear, right? It's not up in your face. It's very unexpected. Most of the time, it's very explosive. It's scary. Even for us, we don't even know where it comes from. Most of the time, we don't know when it's going to come out. And that's something that we have to take ownership for. We have to be more in charge of knowing when we feel the anger building, because it is building. And usually we just ignore it. Okay, we're like, oh, whatever, because we can still handle it. We can still control it until it's out there. And we say some very crazy things. We say some really disrespectful stuff. Some irreversible damage is done. And it's like, maybe it was well-deserved, maybe not. But still, sometimes we have to acknowledge that we did take a long time to speak up, or we didn't say it as assertively as we should have. And then we had no choice but to explode and be heard that way, and it's not always the best way. So I've come up with an acronym for you, Scorpio. It is ACAP, not ASAP. Well, kind of like ASAP, ACAP, we're corn. All right. No. So A stands for acknowledgement. C stands for compassion. A stands for acceptance. P stands for patience and passivity. I added the passivity on there because I just wanted to explain, but really stands for patience mostly. So acknowledgement. The only way you can overcome your anger, your strong emotions, is by acknowledging that they are there. When you're younger, especially Scorpio moons, you may have been encouraged not to acknowledge those harsh emotions. You may have been told you're being too dramatic, you're being too sensitive, stop crying, it's not that serious, why are you reacting so strongly? And then you never learn how to process it. All you do is shut it down, ignore it, suppress it, boom, blows up in your face, blows up in everybody's face. It's a done deal. You have to acknowledge those moments where your emotions are high, where you're feeling so intense. Just acknowledge it and observe. Be like, I feel strongly about this. Stop saying, I don't care. Yes, you do. I'm telling you, you do. Okay? If you didn't care, you wouldn't even say you don't care. Most likely. Okay? Whenever you feel strong emotions, acknowledge that you do care, that you feel as strongly as you do. When other people may say they don't feel that way, or you're the only one that feels that strongly, that is a beautiful gift, to be able to feel so intensely. You know how many people wish they could feel? How many people are just numb? How many people cannot feel the depths of emotions that a Scorpio can? That is a gift. Please don't throw it away and discard it like that. Acknowledgement is the first step. A. C. Compassion. The compassion part comes in because, like I said, this kind of ties into when a Scorpio was younger, when they didn't have compassion for their emotions. You didn't have someone to tell you, it's okay to feel that way. Your emotions are valid. It's a good thing to cry. And so when you get all upset, you get emotional, you get angry, you shame yourself. And you're like, I shouldn't feel like this. Why am I crying? I need to get hard. I need to toughen up. I need to stop being so emotional, stop being so sensitive. You shame yourself. And this is why it's hard to embrace those emotions, because your inner child needed that compassion, needed that gentleness, that softness, and you're giving yourself a beating for feeling. That's not the best way. That's not how you should be operating. Okay? Compassion. Next thing is acceptance. Again, this is how you can go from shame to what's the opposite of shame? Whatever the opposite of shame is, I guess it goes back to acceptance. Yeah, so from shame to acceptance is by accepting your emotions. Excuse me. Accepting that you feel the way you do, and that's okay. Okay? This is how it goes in steps, right? Accepting that you are an emotional being, you're a sensitive being. You have a wider range of emotions than most people have and will ever have. Accept that. Accept it wholeheartedly and radically, and it'll change your life. When I stopped pretending to be hard, when I stopped pretending to be cold, emotionless, and I was feeling things, everything got better. And I realized that I was dealing with people, friends, family, whoever, that actually were emotionally detached. That's why I felt so emotional. It wasn't that I was just strongly feeling emotions, but I was. It was also that everybody else around me was just shut down, cold, shut off, detached, unavailable. So of course it's going to make my emotions seem stronger, right? And so that's when you have that perspective change. You accept that about yourself. Your world opens up to new people who are just as emotionally available as you, just as emotionally accepting as you. Accept your emotions because you accept them. Everything you accept about yourself, you attract people and you engage with people that accept those things about you. So last one is patience. Patience. This is not an overnight process, y'all. I've been dealing with this for about, my whole life, but I mean like actively trying to work on it. And this anger or rage or emotions, instead of just lashing out or suppressing for years, a few years now. So patience is needed because you're going to have a lot of tests. You're going to have a lot of moments where you're like, dang it, I messed up. Dang it, I didn't do this right. Man, I still got angry. I still exploded. I still did this. Every little time that happens, though, that's a good thing. Because remember when you didn't even realize that you were too far gone, but now you're seeing the steps. Every little time you're seeing a previous step, previous step of how you got there. So that's when you'll see the patterns, you'll see the different scenarios that keep repeating from childhood to now, the different people you're around that trigger you, the situations that trigger you, make you mad, because it's not just 0 to 100 as it seems. There was a leading up to that point. You just didn't acknowledge it, or you didn't want to see it. You suppressed it, but it's there. You just have to pay more attention to the little steps. It's little by little. It's not ever one big thing for Scorpio. Trust me. It's little things, and maybe it's not all from one person. It could be very much every different situation in your life. Okay. And then the passivity part comes in when, for Scorpio, letting those little things build up. Scorpio can be way too passive when they're upset. You need to let people know when they hurt your feelings. That goes back to being hard, right? Because Scorpio is really a good sign for building up resentment and holding a grudge, because we expect people to read our minds. Scorpio, you cannot do that. You cannot expect people to know what's wrong, how to handle you, what your triggers are. You need to be more vocal. When I started being more vocal with people, because maybe when you were younger, you couldn't speak up. You were told, be quiet, whatever. Now that you're older, you can say, hey, this made me upset when you do this. Can you not do that? Because I have triggers around this. You can say things like that. You can be like, hey, I don't like that. Then you go from there. At least they know. But just to assume people know by association, or that people have the same experience as you is selfish. Okay, you cannot expect other people to know what your triggers are. Just because you went through it, that doesn't mean that's going to affect somebody else. So you have to be more vocal. You have to be more forward. And you have to be more vulnerable, okay? These are hard things to work through, but this is the only way you're going to be able to process your emotions the correct way, okay? You have to speak up. That's how. People be like, how? It's very simple, not easy, simple. So the last few pointers I want to give to Scorpio is learning how to respond versus react. Responding versus reacting looks like when you react very strongly to an emotionally charged situation, you don't even have time to think. Okay, you need to get in the habit of giving yourself a few seconds. You feel that strong emotion come up, whatever it is, rejection, anger, sadness, fear, and you just feel like, I just need to say something, do something. No, you do not always need to do something right away. Unless you are in real danger, you need to get in the habit of identifying and asking yourself, am I actually in danger, or am I just reliving a situation from the past? Am I actually in danger, or am I just afraid? Am I just triggered? When you can start to ask yourself those questions, you'll begin to calm down. Your body will stop trying to fight that fight or flight mode. You're going to feel your body breathe. Because you being all tense and reacting, it's not going to have the best outcome. Okay? And then the last thing is living in survival mode. You have to get that out of your mind. You have to stop walking around with the knives out, ready to stab somebody. Always thinking that somebody is going to attack. Okay? Scorpios have a lot of issues surrounding trust and betrayal. Scorpio has been betrayed a lot in their lifetimes in the earliest stages of their life, usually by caregivers, was the first forms of betrayal. And so growing up, it's like you feel like you always have to have that guard up, always have to be defending yourself. And that is not the case. When you get a stronger sense of being assertive and a stronger sense of boundaries, you do not have to always walk around with the knife out, ready to stab somebody. It may feel like you do, but again, life is not... there are going to be threats. There are going to be situations where you need to fight. But fight when the threat presents itself. You have to learn how to do that. Not always be prepared for a fight, but fight when necessary. All right. Like I said, you need to learn how to be aware of real dangers and perceived threats versus actual threats, perceived abandonment versus actual abandonment. And the way you do that, because Scorpios are known for having very high paranoia, one of the most paranoid out of the whole zodiac, I can attest. You had to fix that. This is the key. Listen closely. This is the only answer you'll ever need. You need to ask questions. Do not assume. Ask questions. Do not assume. Hey, ask questions. Do not, okay. Ask questions. Do not assume. Okay? Scorpios can be very hypervigilant, always on alert for changes in behavior, changes in voices, changes in patterns. Very good at detecting those things. However, the assumptions associated with that can be very detrimental if you're not careful, because you've gotten so good at protecting yourself, so good at defending yourself, so good at being able to detect threats and danger. You may perceive everything, every change, every new situation as, oh, this is dangerous, this is new, this is a threat. No. When you perceive threats, you may go back to a place where you were abandoned or rejected before, and you're just automatically like, nope, I've been in this situation, cut it out, done, run away. When it may not even be that. It might not. Or you're missing important vital information, important facts, and you just react, and then make you look crazy, make you look insane. You have to get in the habit of asking questions before you assume the worst, okay? And then if the worst comes, you can deal with it then. But anytime you're confused, scared, paranoid, if it's a situation that directly involves you or someone, that could be in danger or hurt, you need to be like, hey, what did you mean by that? Hey, I felt a little nervous when you said this, or you didn't do this, or you did that. Can you explain, what you were saying, what you were doing? You may be very shocked that it had nothing to do with you, or it wasn't even what you thought. That can change your life, Scorpio. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to put y'all on game. All right. These are things that have changed my life personally that I'm trying to help you guys out with. All right. So, Scorpio, if this reading resonated, if this little motivational speak, this TED Talk motivated you, please let me know. Comment if you're going to start working on your anger, you're working on your emotions. Not fixing them, but just working through processing them and expressing them in the healthiest, highest capacity. Leave me a like, comment, subscribe. I am at By Bronx on everything.